So your film is very, very personal. And I wondered how you first decided to do it, how you first met Augusto and Paulina, and how it came about.
Well, I was very lucky because it was an unexpected encounter. Of course, that I knew them both because they were public persons, but I didn't met them personally. And when he got Alzheimer, he was the director of the Chilean television, the public television, and he quit, and he openly made an interview in a big magazine telling that he got Alzheimer. And a few months after, I saw him with Paulina. I was hired to make a master class in a university, and she works there. And I saw her with him, and it was very unbelievable that I saw him in her work, and all the people that work with her integrate him, and they were like very happy together in that context. And it was the first time that I saw a person with Alzheimer completely integrate to society, and they were having a good life and a good love, and it was amazing as a relationship. And that is how it started. I invited them to make the film, and I told them it's a love story for me. I was not thinking in the careers and in the person that they were, only in that way to live the disease. And she didn't want it. It was very difficult to convince her. And the reasons that she gave me was completely reasonable. I will say the same probably.
What were the reasons?
No, that she didn't want it to be exposed, that she didn't want it to expose him. And as a Minister of Culture, she was so exposed all the time. And it was difficult for her, that role. And she didn't want to put her personal life in cameras. And he was the one that convinced her at the end, with the reason that I told you in the beginning. And now she's very grateful for that. And she said that probably this film and that decision that he took in that moment was his biggest act of consequence, like to pass his last years with a camera and doing a film.
Was there ever any time, I know sometimes you left the camera there because of COVID, because COVID suddenly happened in the midst of it, but was there ever a time when you felt it was almost too personal and you were concerned about filming?
Not really, because I feel that the most intimate and personal stuff were shooting by her, not by me. So I never feel like a painful situation when I was shooting. I really enjoyed to be with them, and we shot it for 5 years. I shot it 2 first before that COVID came, and the lockdown in Chile was really long. It was 1.5 years, like a strict lockdown. So I sent the camera, but without expecting to have material for the film. It was more like, okay, I send you the camera and I will have research material for me until I will be back to shoot. And the camera became to her as a company during the lockdown. So it was a kind of diary between us that she shoot, and she sent me messages like, today I lived this like 3 times, and I answered to her. So it was a way of company, and she said that. And I never like direct her like, please do this scene. It was so with a lot of freedom. I only tried to teach her how to use the camera and how to make focus, and she never learned how you can see. So it was really like out of my control and my hands. And at the same time, about your question of the intimacy and pain, at the same time, it's a big lesson for me about cinema, because I have been trying in all my films to have the perfect shot, and with my camera in this one all the time to have like the perfect camera. And her camera, it's so bad, but at the end, it's so profound and intimate and real that you don't care. And that it's the most important thing at the end, like the kind of intimacy that only people can have when you're alone. And even if I have all the access, because they gave me all the access, I will never have that kind of moment at 2 a.m. when he was completely lost. When I received the first scene of the film, I really cannot believe that material, like in the middle of the night. And and in a mood that it was so clear all the time about the relationship, like he didn't remember and she was like, I'm your wife, in a very good mood. Like, I probably get crazy, like, well, you don't remember me. Like, she was like making fun of that. So to see that material all the time was a gift for me, and a refreshing way to understand the disease. Yeah.
And she was so good-natured in just how she dealt with him. It was really, I admired.
Yeah, and she said that she's very exceptional. Like, it's an example and not, because it's so exceptional that it's tricky. But she said that to be an actress helped her a lot to deal with that, because she said that she has to repeat all the time in her work and repeat the motions. So with him, she tried to repeat the motions all the time as the first day. And it's something that she has incorporate herself.
That's so interesting. So I was thinking about the Mole Agent and this, and both of them had to do with older people. Are you particularly drawn to stories about people as they age, or was this just kind of, did it happen?
I think I'm not like looking for it, but probably because I did the Mole Agent, I saw so many people isolated from society because of the illness, because of the dementia, and I saw completely the opposite in this case, before of COVID, of course, that moved me to do it as an example of how we have to take care of people in a way, and how to integrate it to society. So they are related, but I think that my concern is about how we deal with fragility in general, more than with all people, like how to make it visible, how to don't hide them. Yeah.
So your film acquires kind of additional layers of meaning when you think about the tragic irony that Augusto made it his mission to keep the country's painful memories alive during Pinochet, and then having him lose his memories feels like especially painful, I think. Especially when he built his own archives of memories and everything. And the memory of the concept of memory was so important to him. And was he aware of that irony in a way as he was progressing in his disease?
No, I think he was not aware, and I was not aware neither. It was something that I started discovering, and it's a big paradox, but at the same time, it's so clear how his speech about memory, it's the way that he always remember. Because for me, this film, it's not a film about lost memory. It's called The Eternal Memory, because I feel that there is emotional memory, that it's always there and that it's permanent, and reminds in your body all the time. Like, and he said that in the speech of the opening of his book, when he said that Chilean people do not have to speak about information and commemoration or numbers. We have to make our mournings from the emotional memory, like to reconstruct the country from that place. And what is happening to him, it's like he doesn't remember dates, he doesn't remember information, but he remembers his love and his pains and all the emotions until the end. He always remembered the love with Paulina. He remembered the friend that he lost during dictatorship. So in a way, in a year that we are in the 50 years anniversary of the coup in Chile, and it's the first time after 50 years that we started to hear negationism speech about the history that are unbelievable, and he came to say in a way like, okay, you can manipulate information, or you can't, but people do it, but you cannot erase pain. Like pain, the pain of the country is there, so you have to make the narrative from that place, and that is what the film is doing, and he is doing, and it's his point of view that gave me as a gift, I think, and I saw it in the relationship. Like, I love the scene in the Chinese restaurant when she told to him, how many years we have been together? I don't know, help me. But then she said, like, did we have kids? And she said, no, because you didn't want it. And that's true. And that was like his pain all the time. And he remembered that, but he didn't remember the other information. So the feelings are there all the time.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I remember I went to Chile, I went to Santiago, and there's a Museum de la Memoria. Mm-hmm. And it made me, it's interesting that's the word that was used to commemorate the horrible things that were done during Pinochet and the atrocities and everything. And I was thinking, is memory a really important concept to Chileans because of that, do you think? More, I mean, memory is important to everybody, but is it particularly vital?
I think it's vital in all the countries that when you have difficult historical like issues or with people violate human rights, like memory, it's a way that start to be in the country all the time. So of course that it's important, but it's a concept that you have to build, and it's a country that work for build that word. And Augusto was very like the first journalist that start to work in build that word. And if you go to the Museum of Memory in Chile, the only archives that you see in all the screenings is him in his newscast, giving the newscast, and it's the only archive that we have from dictatorship. And he wrote the book speaking about memory. So it was a big concern for him, and it's a country that have been working on that, I think.
I wanted to ask you specifically what you took away from this experience, because we were just saying how Paulina has so much strength and patience, and I wondered, what you learned from spending 5 years working on this project about people, about relationships.
Well, a lot of things. Probably the understanding of memory, that I said that not memory have different levels, and we always associate memory with information, and it's not the only level. And yeah, there are another that I really learned that there are another ways of connections, and that you can live disease as challenge and not as tragedy. Like they always have joy until the last day, and I saw another ways of connections in that house and in that family all the time. Like another example that it's out of the film, Juliet, the cat that they have it for 15 years. When Augusto stopped walking, she stopped walking. When Augusto lost his seeing, she stopped seeing. And when Augusto passed away, she passed away 1 hour after.
What?
So you said like, what is happening here? Like everybody's so connected.
Yeah.
And that is what I really, when I say there is an emotional thing there that it's happening, I really live it. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. So you chose to make this film in a non-linear style, and so it's not told chronologically. What made you decide to tell it in that way?
Yeah, because it is a narrative about memory and about a feeling, and not the chronicle of deterioration. So it's a film about associations, and I realized that you can understand the present of the relationship only when you see the past. So it was so important to see that dimension of love, like making associations. And I thought at the beginning that I was not going to put their public places, but at the end was so related with their love too, like what they work on. Like in the closing of the book, that it's he making a love speech to her about memory and at the same time speaking politically about memory. So everything was so connected that I needed to make that kind of associations all the time. And for me, it was not heartbreaking to shoot the film. Like I really enjoy each day of shooting, but was very heartbreaking when I find the material of 25 years ago and I put it with the material of 3 years ago, and I saw that they see each other all the time as the first day, that it was like, I cannot believe that they maintain their relationship like that, and they take care of them today because they take care of them all the years. It's not something that happened only in the illness, and that it's like for me the powerful of editing, like you are living the dimension of time in this relationship and not only the moment that I observe of the last 5 years.
Right. Was that a choice to make it in the non-linear fashion and kind of make those connections? Was that something that you noticed in the editing room? Or?
Yeah, completely in the editing room, yeah. Like, I feel that, yeah, I find the associations in the editing room.
Editing, if you did this for 5 years and you had all that footage that was shot while you were not there, plus the footage that you did shoot, editing must have been, you must have had hours and hours and hours to go through.
We spent like 6 months only seeing and checking material and archive, and then 1 year full time of editing. Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. So what do you think you learned about Alzheimer's during the making of this project? I mean, did you walk away with any new?
A lot of things. Yeah. I think that, of course, that you cannot make, because you always read all the books about Alzheimer and you see some things that you repeat, but I learned that there is not one way to live Alzheimer, and each person is different. And I think that it's a risky theory, that your personality really came in your disease too. Like all Augusto friends and Paulina said that he was never angry for nothing, and he was always a kind man. And it's a common thing that you hear. And I have seen so many patients with Alzheimer, but that always get anger in some point, and he never. And I really feel that is part of his personality, and at the same time, of course, a woman that it's helping to never be desperate. But in a way, I think that identities are always there. That's clear for me. And it's also, I feel it, I understand this example as a perfect example of take care, but at the same time as an exception. Like his doctor told me a lot, like it's very exceptional because they have an exceptional relationship, but it's not for everybody, but because not everybody has this kind of relationship. And it's also an act of love to decide in which moment you institutionalize in a retirement home or in a special place.
And it has to do with how much money you have,
money,
and comfort,
like the kind of relationship, the situation that if you can or not leave your work because it's a complete time work. And for me, it was a big question if I had to put at the beginning that she was an important actress as a minister, because as a script, I didn't need it. But it was important for me in a way to break the stereotype of caregivers in Latin America that are women that don't have jobs and they're at homes. That this is a big person with a big career that decided to step off her career for a while.
Right.
Yeah, and that was important for me. And she said something that I love, that she always said that the only way to evolve as a society is for everyone to take care of another human being, at least in one point of our lives. And that is very meaningful for me, and that is, I think, what I learned from her, like everybody have to take care. Yeah.
And it also seems like not only is this about taking care of people, it's about memory, but it's also about being in the moment and treasuring those moments that you do have with someone.
Yeah, that's very important. She always said, like, I don't have nostalgic of 10 years ago. I have nostalgic of 2 years ago. Like when we go to have a walk to the bike, it's like to have a day by day more normal, not without disease, but a nice day by day moment, not in bed, like walking, not more like it's exactly that. Yeah.
Simple things. Well, Maite, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This has been such a wonderful film and a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks for coming. Thank you very much.